After an incredible 2018 season, the Boston Red Sox belong atop the first edition of sportsnet.ca's weekly 2019 MLB Power Rankings. But with the Dodgers, Astros and Yankees around, Boston isn't assured of top spot for long. As for the Blue Jays, they begin the season toward the bottom of these rankings with hopes of climbing up as the season progresses. In between, you have legitimate contenders, playoff hopefuls and long shots. 1. Boston Red Sox. They won 108 regular season games, then eliminated the Yankees, Astros and Dodgers on their way to another World Series win. Now the Red Sox bring a similarly loaded roster back with designs on a repeat. 2. Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers combine depth and star power like nobody else. In 2019, they hope the return of Corey Seager and the continued emergence of Walker Buehler will lead them to that elusive World Series title. 3. Houston Astros. Justin Verlander and Jarrett Cole lead the way, but there's all kinds of pitching beyond the big names in Houston. With Carlos Correa primed for a bounce-back season, the Astros remain a force. 4. New York Yankees. Whether you're talking about the lineup or the bullpen, no one has quite as much power as the Yankees. Now that James Paxton's in that rotation, the Yankees are really AL East favorites with the defending World Series winners. 5. Washington Nationals. Sure, it's easy to focus on what the Nationals lost, but what about what they gained? The additions of Patrick Corbin, Yan Gomes and Brian Dozier help make Washington a World Series threat. 6. Chicago Cubs. After a disappointing 2018 season, the Cubs are bringing back the same roster and a renewed sense of purpose. Expect big things in Joe Maddon's contract year. 7. St. Louis Cardinals. The Paul Goldschmidt trade adds to an already deep group of position players and reinforces the Cardinals' status as legitimate playoff contenders. 8. Philadelphia Phillies. Nobody had a better off-season than the Phillies, who will contend all year after adding Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto, Gene Segura and Andrew McCutchen. 9. Cleveland Indians. Cleveland will win plenty of games this year by virtue of their division, but Jose Ramirez and Francisco Lindor are banged up, their bullpen's weak and their outfield has lots of question marks. 10. Atlanta Braves. Last year's NL East champs added an impact player in Josh Donaldson and have plenty of young arms on the rise. 11. Milwaukee Brewers. After reaching the NLCS in 2018, the Brewers added Yasmani Grandal on a promising one-year deal. If they can pull off a similar short-term deal with Craig Kimbrell, their chances of another deep playoff run would improve that much more. 12. New York Mets. Even as Todd Frazier and Jed Lowry deal with injuries, the Mets look like a playoff threat. That rotation's just so talented. 13. Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Okay, the pitching staff isn't great, but they have the best player in the world on their side, so if the rest of the team is even average, the Angels will contend. 14. Oakland Athletics. You'd be right to point out that their rotation's vulnerable, but that was the case last year and they still won 97 games. Their position players and bullpen should help the A's win more than they lose. 15. Minnesota Twins. Some are picking the Twins as a playoff threat, and I see the reasoning given the weak bottom three in the All-Central, but I'd like to see more pitching before bumping Minnesota higher. If they can land Dallas Keuchel, then we'd be looking at a more serious contender. 16. Tampa Bay Rays. Credit the Rays for their impressive 90-win season in 2018, but repeating that will be tough even after adding Charlie Morton and Mike Zunino. 17. Colorado Rockies. If the Rockies' young pitching continues developing, they could climb these rankings quickly. 18. Cincinnati Reds. Give the Reds credit for adding the likes of Yasiel Puig, Sonny Gray and Matt Kemp, but as great as it would be to see them rewarded for their attempt to win, I'm still not completely sold on Cincinnati as a contender. 19. San Diego Padres with Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. on the left side of the infield. This team will undoubtedly be fun to watch. But will they contend? At this point their rotation still includes a little too much uncertainty. 20. Seattle Mariners. This stripped-down version of the Mariners isn't good, but it's not like the players they added are in Class A. Yusei Kikuchi and Domingo Santana are among the newcomers who could keep Seattle in games. 21. Pittsburgh Pirates. While the Pirates aren't an awful team by any stretch, you need to do more than tread water to compete in a division with 4 teams pushing ahead. 22. Arizona Diamondbacks. It'd be tough for any team to lose Paul Goldschmidt, Patrick Corbin and A.J. Pollock, so expect a sub-.500 season or 2 in Arizona as the Diamondbacks look to build up again. 23. San Francisco Giants. For the Giants to return to relevance, Farhan Zaidi will have to add meaningfully to a lineup that looks thin. 24. Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays could climb these rankings over the course of the season if their top prospects reach the majors and succeed. For now, though, their pitching staff and defense keep them in the bottom tier. 25. Texas Rangers. Only the Orioles project to allow more runs than the Rangers, according to Fangraphs. That's not the kind of company Texas wants to be keeping. 26. Chicago White Sox. A deal with Manny Machado would have accelerated the rebuild, but as things stand now, the White Sox are still a ways off. They might finish third in the All-Central, but only because it's the worst division in baseball. 27. Kansas City Royals. As bad teams go, the Royals should be fun to watch thanks to a speedy lineup featuring Adalberto Mondesi, Whit Merrifield and Billy Hamilton. 28. Detroit Tigers. There's a plan in place here, but the loss of Michael Fulmer to Tommy John surgery weakened the Tigers' 2019 roster in a big way. 29. Miami Marlins. Trading JT Realmuto away weakened an already depleted Marlins roster. Good luck winning many games in a division with 4 legitimate contenders. 30. Baltimore Orioles. Even a 15-game improvement on last year would result in a 100-loss season for the Orioles, who might be comparable to an expansion franchise from a talent standpoint.